If you could sum up Funky's yoga teacher training in a single word, what is it?
Gratifying.
There's so much time, energy, and love invested into each individual that comes into this. You know, the curriculum that we design, you know, even just like, it's like, I want the space to be beautiful so that we can feel connected to the beauty around us. You know, like, life is hard sometimes. And so something as simple as like, I'm gonna buy flowers on the way so that we have something beautiful to look at. Making sure that we bring the cohort outside and we spend time in nature. Part of the Funky Buddha way, I think, is remembering not only that inner teacher that lives inside of us, and that's what we want to enliven and awaken. It's not about like, I need to learn everything and I need to get it perfect and I need to have all these techniques. Like, we'll learn those things, it's important. But also, who are you at the center of it and how do we pull that out? And I think a really important part of that is to be connected to nature. You know, for us to be able to spend a day in nature and do a deep dive into meditation. That's not only for understanding meditation, for knowledge, for teaching, but even more so for the person that's in nature and they get to spend a day with themselves and learn their own process, like how are they connected to themselves? How are they disconnected from themselves? And that really is the heart of yoga.
You know, I think early on, I thought like teaching yoga was something that I could be good at, but really, I didn't know. So ultimately, I realized that I was gonna benefit whether or not teaching was the right thing for me.
I just knew it was something that I could do long-term, low impact. You grow your own practice. You get to build yourself into whatever you want to achieve with yoga, right? Like, yoga is not just limited to a certain demographic or a certain country. Like,
I thought I would learn a lot about the physicality, and I did. A lot of what we discussed was more about the yoga off the mats, the philosophies and teachings, and how yoga can help you outside of the yoga studio, in your relationships, in your job, and just how you interact with the world.
Some really nice things that we offer as a part of our training, I think, are really large scope. We don't just teach yoga physical poses and teach how to teach yoga, but we also give people a lot of communication skills and opportunities to learn more about their own selves, their own practice, things even just in your own interpersonal skills and relationships in life. I think it's a great training for a person who's interested in teaching yoga, but it's also just a great training for someone who wants to learn more about themselves and how to get along with the people around them.
I think I was surprised and inspired by the communication skills that we practiced.
We're always sort of trained that when there's silence, the thing to do is fill it. When there's discomfort, the thing to do is try to resolve it. It's just a recasting of a mindset.
Being mindful, being a good listener, understanding kind of what's going on with myself, listening to my body.
It's like really changed the perspective I bring to each class, and just being more mindful of every movement, every breath, where my mind is at. It's really offered a lot of tools, I suppose, just for everyday life as well.
The emphasis on communication in mentorship specifically was really just about how I can take my personality and the way that I navigate the world and display that through my teaching.
It's a 6-month program, and within those 6 months, we are gonna go through a couple of major points. Those major points are yoga, super important, personal work. Within the yogic system, which is a system of liberation, the word yoga means union, so many people know that, but sometimes we miss trying to learn the pieces and parts, we miss the whole, and the whole is freedom. That is the entire point of yoga, is to be free within this body, to be free from the constructs of the mind to the best of our ability. And when we can't be free from the constructs of the mind, to at least recognize them, like, oop, that's an old pattern, like, oop, that's a loop in my mind, or like, oop, that's my inner critic talking right now. To be able to have that is, I think, foundationally important. And I think having that as the basis, that we're really looking to enliven the individual into that state of freedom instead of trying to hit the curriculum points. We're gonna get the curriculum points, that's important. But I think that's really a foundation for us.
When I am stressed, I have this toolkit now to re-access and tune into myself and to explore inner parts of myself, and having the tools to feel confident to move through the world, leading with my heart. And the techniques from yoga very much transferred to my daily life and just how I show up. Trying to lead with my heart and actually move through the world, kind of listening in and tuning in a lot more.
Physical form, we go a little deeper inward and we look at the energetic body, what's called the subtle bodies in the yogic system. That energy body is relational. We've all had that moment where we walked in a room and somebody lit it up with their sunshine, or somebody sucked the energy out of the room. So we know what that means, but we look at what does the energy body mean? How do we understand it at the human level? How do we understand it at the level of the yogic system? So there's philosophy involved in that conversation, but there's also really fun practices that we'll do together to get energy moving in your own body, energetic exchange. A lot of sound healing is beyond words. So that question this morning, what is the soma? What's somatic? Somatic is of the body. So when we talk about some of this stuff, it's not always easy to talk about because it's experiential. These are the types of things that are beyond what we typically think of as the physical and the mental body. So knowledge only takes us so far. Now, this stuff oftentimes gets into the energetic body, the wisdom body, and the bliss body. Sensation, right? It doesn't have to make sense if it makes sensation. That's such an important thing to consider.
After we did the breathwork session or breathwork day, just really showing me the power of the breath. It was impactful because, one, we were all doing the same activity together, but we all had vastly different experiences. Some people felt the need to move the breath through their body, so others just stayed flat on their back the entire time. Everyone came out with discovering something new about themselves and their yoga practice.
There was a very, very heavy emphasis on meditation that I hadn't anticipated, and I enjoyed a lot.
Connect my mind, body. It's not just the poses now. The poses help me to meditate better. I'm more consistent meditating.
And essentially it's just about you, about myself, really understanding myself, listening myself, and building that unique teaching style. You don't need to be anybody else. Just be yourself.
From the energy body, we work with the knowledge body. The knowledge body is going to be working with anatomy, and we have beautiful apps that we utilize and pull up all the slides so that we can actually look at what do bones look like? How at the level of the skeleton are we similar? Are we different? To understand, again, movement from a fundamental level, and then always going back to your own body to make sure that you understand at the level of your body, how are my shoulders moving? What is my core container and what does it feel like? And so from that level of experience, then we start to teach. Go all the way up. What's happening to your shoulder blades? They're coming apart. They have to. And so when we get into handstand and headstand, we actually want to push up a little, move the upper arm bones back. So you're pushing against the floor, your shoulders can actually raise. So traps, we want those guys to be working in a headstand or a handstand.
I knew I was hooked as soon as I tried yoga. It was like the hot yoga, right? And I just saw sweat dripping from my body, right? And it was so tangible because it was like, man, I can see the hard work paying off right away.
Oh, what is a perfect triangle? Like, what is a perfect warrior 2? What is a perfect warrior 3? And I feel like that was not the emphasis at all.
I loved that it fit your body type, and there was no pressure to do it any other way.
From the knowledge body, we go into that wisdom body. And the wisdom body is your intuition, your inner teacher, who you truly are, what yoga often calls the safe refuge. So we continue to go more and more inward. We're starting with communication and physicality, more and more inward until finally we get to what yoga calls the bliss body. And the bliss body is the innermost, the spark of what you were born with, and that's what we want to draw out. So we get to spend 6 months together getting to draw out who you truly are at the heart of you.
I was at the stage of my life and I felt I'm doing a lot of things for other people, and I just really wanted to commit to something that I can do for myself. So that was kind of the main objective for me.
It's not just physical, and there is lots of inner work, and I think the most important part is that you can learn poses, you can try to do your best, but inner work, being able to listen to other people, giving them space and asking for space is so important.
I just have always felt like I've been in an in-between place, like don't fully fit in here, don't fully fit in there, and I think just not necessarily having the privilege of being soft, having access to safe spaces. And so I think for me, this was a really healing experience, like even in the yoga community, like looking for alignment there.
Another thing that I find incredibly important is to consider the student-teacher container. And so for people to move from student to teacher, there's a deep responsibility and reverence that's required. And that is incredibly important to me, that we talk about how do we hold that container? How do we make sure that we are opening up the student to their inner teacher through an incredible knowledge base? But what we really want to do is, instead of constantly teaching, we want to transmit wisdom.
Every time I participate and support the yoga teacher training program, I feel like I myself learn so much more. It's helped me grow as a coach in giving feedback to others. It's helped me learn more empathy and stronger communication skills.
I've been teaching for over 20 years now. It's really important to me to learn well, to have the skill set of communication. That's a huge thing that we go through pretty intensely in these trainings. It's just a transfer of knowledge. There's nothing that I can teach you. We can transfer knowledge, and I have a lot to share, and I'm excited about that, but it's really awakening the inner teacher in you.
They just created a space where you knew you were going to be okay, and you knew that it was safe to go to the places that we ended up going. Just consistently reminding us that we were good, and that we were okay, and that we were going to get to the end no matter how long it took or what kind of pivots we might need to make individually.
I think Larissa's approach to teaching people how to teach yoga it's more on the spectrum of like, well, what are you looking for from this practice versus like, this is the right way to do it.
The Funky Buddha institution as fostering my growth through the teacher training and the commitment since then has been incalculable.
They spend a lot of time with us, really making sure that we're comfortable with ourselves and in front of the class.
I have felt super supported in every step of the way. Just communication has been above and beyond. Just knowing that I have someone there like Larissa to have your back, and like Jen, they're wonderful, both the Jens. And it's not just about learning about yoga, it's about becoming a better human.
Her teaching definitely was in the ability to hold space for you as a student and to feel safe to explore yourself there.
Very nurturing environment they create. They allow me to be me.
I think the 200-hour, it's an immense amount of time, and it's also such a small amount of time to try to get through everything. So to have 200 hours together where we have one-on-one connection time, we have group coaching time, we have so much beautiful community.
I was searching for community, connection, and trying to find myself again.
I work a lot with veterans. I'm a veteran myself, and I use my experience using yoga to heal, and I'm still growing, and I like someday to help others in a bigger capacity. And
you get out of it what you put into it. And what I want to be able to put into it is to be able to put yoga into my community. I know that there are a lot of people that don't want to do it because, you know, you're rocking some short shorts or you don't feel like your body looks like you should be doing yoga. And so like what we want to do is make sure that you know, you can see people that look like you. Representation matters.
Actually, when I met with Funky Buddha, it was my first time experiencing yoga. And I knew about the scholarship and there was always options. Even though when I was taking classes for a while, I was unemployed and they helped me with the financing. So I knew about that. Then I applied for scholarship and I got lucky.
Some of us are born into this world with barriers, you know, stacked against us before we even get here, generational and systemic, and we're just trying to survive. And so it's hard to thrive when you're in survival mode, and sometimes you don't always have the resources to invest in your healing or your dreams. I think this teacher training really gave me like local community, local support, a local yoga home.
Something that's incredibly important to me, to us, I think about yoga is the medium that we work with and communication is the craft. Do I have enough of a knowledge base so that I can clearly communicate what it is that I want to say? And so we work depth in that knowledge base within the yogic system. We want to make things simple, take something incredibly complex, like the system of yoga, and simplify it into its pieces and parts so that you can help refine and share these little pieces and parts, and then somebody designs and builds up their own teacher so that they can take those pieces and parts and make them their own whole.
And it's taught me so many things that bring so much value outside of the yoga studio and just in my personal life. It helps you build relationships, but most importantly, it just helps you know you better, which I think is probably the biggest gift I've gotten out of all of this.
I gained a Sangha and a community.
That an investment in yourself is always worth it.
To be curious, because that's the antidote to judgment.
A deeper connection to myself, both physically and spiritually.
I think I came back to myself.
For me, it was a life-changing experience. So self-love, self-compassion, forgiveness, and it brought me back to myself too.
A lot of rewarding mindfulness techniques and ways to keep myself grounded.
I experienced a lot of profound personal growth, but also a larger appreciation for community and the support you can receive.
A lot of tools to help with mastering some of the mental chatter that often occurs.
Discovery beyond movement, discovery about myself, and discovery about all these amazing people I've been able to meet.
There is no ultimate arrival. I've already arrived. I will always be arriving and growing and becoming. And it's all right inside of me, here, now, and always. Thank you.
Wise communication, understanding responsibility and reverence in becoming a teacher, and making sure you know yourself well enough that you can find that balance of self-trust and humility, which I think is really what makes a true leader, a true teacher.